it was funny because, he was just telling us, taking us through it, and he was like, yeah, I had the dude one arm, and, I was really just trying to get after him. And then next thing you know, it's all over Twitter, all over the place.
Has he been doing boxing training in the off-season?
He has, yes. Yeah.
Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about his progression? You guys have kind of had a similar, trajectory with the franchise, but, from his rookie year to, getting off to a decent start, given the injury that he had in training camp, what do you kind of make of his progression?
I mean, he's doing great, especially like you said, coming off, an injury like that, having to battle back. I mean, I've just seen him, throughout, OTAs and all that stuff, just in here grinding, man. He's in here, one of the first dudes in here, last dudes to leave, getting treatment all the time, and I'm just so proud of him. Obviously we came in together, and it sucks to see somebody get hurt, but to see him battle back like that, it just shows how resilient he is and how willing to work he is.
Going back to the punch, I mean, this happens a lot in football, right? Like, calls get missed all the time. Like, there's a lot of stuff that does sneak past the officials. Is it nice to be on the, the positive side of that for once?
Yeah.
And not get called for something?
No, it's nice. Obviously, if you get, if they do call a penalty there, it could be a drive killer. And, the unfortunate thing is, they'll go back and, if it's not called in the field, they'll make sure he hears about it, later, whether that's just, who knows if he gets fined or anything like that. But that's the unfortunate part. You can still get fined for stuff that wasn't called, but it is what it is. And, it wasn't anything intentional he was trying to do. It just happened to, happen to happen.
We talked to Ferg the other day. He said you're one of the more surprising vocal leaders on the offense. Why would he say that?
I think just the fact, I play center. You have to be the guy that directs traffic. I call the protections, run scheme, and stuff like that. So it just kind of comes with the job. Making sure dudes are all going the right way. We're all on the same page. Everybody knows what's happening. So, it kind of just comes with the job.
And what did you make of the Week 1 performance? Felt like some plays got left out there, but
yeah, I definitely think there's just a lot of missed opportunities. We get the ball back twice with a chance to go down and score and win the game, and we don't get it done. And obviously, as an offense, that was really disappointing. We started off really strong, and there in the second half we wouldn't do anything, and the defense stepped up, made stops, and we got to capitalize. We got to play complementary football, but there's no moral victories, but I'm excited where this team's headed. Just the mentality, the effort was there, the energy was there. That's something we need to continue week after week.
Can you speak to the fact that this is another divisional game? You definitely don't want to go down 0-2.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously division games are a little bit more important than other games, but at the end of the day, it's the next opportunity to go out there and compete, and that's how we're treating it as. We obviously didn't get off to the start we wanted, so we're looking to bounce back week 2.
When you look at Javonte and what he did there, what did you like as you guys saw the film?
I think the biggest thing is just a dude that runs hard. He's not afraid of contact. He's the dude that he's going to, put his nose down, put his head down, and get you 4, and that's what you want in a running back. Blocking schemes may not always be perfect, but if you got a dude that's willing to run hard, he can make a lot of things happen.
Playing with Tyler that first game over there on the right side, what did you guys see, and then what did you learn from that you can take into this game against the Giants?
I think really the biggest thing was just getting the feels for different combination blocks and stuff like that, and just getting in that groove. Obviously, the more reps you get together, the more cohesive it is, and I'm just looking forward to continue to get those reps. I mean, he's a really smart player, big, strong guy, so it's fun having him next to me.
Your communication with Dak after that first game, and how did you feel you two together?
Good. I think one of the biggest, that was one of the biggest areas that I improved from year 1 to year 2 is just being that vocal guy, knowing my things, making sure everybody's on the same page. And I think, Dak has that trust in me this year to allow me, obviously he has the final say, but I think just, the way I prepare, the way I get ready, he has the trust in me, that I'm going to make the right calls and get things done.
Any guys give you any grief about Army over the weekend, man?
Oh, man. I went back for that game. I've never – oh, yeah, it was a tough watch. I watched Army do a 2-minute drill right before half. I think they threw the ball once, and to drive down the field like that, it's a tough start to the season, but – hopefully they can get it turned around, but we'll see. So.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep.
What was Shotty's message today in terms of moving forward and that kind of thing?
It was huge. Obviously, we didn't get the outcome we wanted. We knew we left a lot of stuff out there, and I think that was the biggest disappointment of it all. You go out and you score on every drive in the first half and then don't put any points on the board when defense, gets you opportunities. And, it stings week one to, take a loss like that. But, it's a long season. They always say you can never let a game beat you twice. And I think that was really the message. We can't let what happened last week carry over to this week. We got another great opponent coming in here, another strong defensive front for us. So just get after it today. It was nice to have a little bonus Monday and get ready for the Giants.
What was it, that run game? Because we talked about that was a quote unquote Achilles heel for you guys, and you seem to run the ball pretty effectively.
Yeah, I think just the mentality of the O-line, and I think too. Bringing in a guy like Clayton Adams, I think it really helped, scheme-wise and that kind of thing. And, and obviously having Conor Riley there too really brought, obviously I was familiar with him, but it really brought that kind of juice and that fire we needed and that kind of finish we needed. And I think, we put on a pretty good display. Obviously, we missed some here and there that, we would have liked to have back. But, that's football for you. You just continue to learn, continue to grow. But, I'm excited how the O-line went out week one.
What did you learn about Javonte? First time you'd seen him live, right? He didn't play.
Yeah, dude runs hard. I mentioned earlier, he's one of those dudes. He's going to put his head down and get you 4, and that's all you want in a running back. Blocking schemes aren't always perfect. Sometimes there's no hole at all, but he's going to put his head down. He's not afraid of contact, and that's something that you love as an O-lineman.
He had one run. It looked like he was stopped at like 2 or 3. Maybe he got like 5 or 6 after that. What does that do for you guys?
Man, it's just a mentality thing, and really deflates other teams. When they think, they have a 1-2 yard gain, you're pushing the pile. Like, it just deflates defenses. And, that's really the mentality that, Shotty's kind of instilled at us. We knew last year, the finish wasn't good enough. That extra effort wasn't there. And, that's something we're striving to get better at this year.
Was valedictorian status in high school?
Was I?
He was.
Oh,
Javonte
yeah.
was. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
No, I was not.
Yeah, he had a 4.6 GPA, I guess, in high school.
Wow, good for him. Can't say I had that, but
What was yours?
I was like a 3.9, so it was good.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.